Hey there, LBT Squad. I'm your host, Alex Popp. I'm a dinosaur. I'm here right now because
I've been looking forward to this.
So today we're just going to watch a video together. This comes from a YouTuber that I've been following for over 11 years now. It's been that long. That is the Nostalgia Critic. I'm sure a lot of you are probably familiar with the guy. So it was back in late 2012 that I first came across him. It was right after I saw the movie A Troll in Central Park on YouTube, and then his review of that movie happens to come up under suggestions. So I watched it and it was such a hoot. Like that video is still one of his greatest to this day. And so we're going from the worst Don Bluth movie to the best Don Bluth movie. I know Critic would disagree. The Secret of NIMH is his favorite. Secret of NIMH is number 2 for me, though. So I have been waiting for this practically since the day I discovered the Nostalgia Critic. I mean, I looked around and I was really surprised to find that he hadn't reviewed any of these movies yet, and nor has he ever until today. Like, I have been watching and listening, like, every January, or March now, rather, because every year Critic has this special themed month. Like, it used to be in January, but he moved it to March for a reason I don't remember. But so every time we get around to that month and he announces what it is, I have been waiting for him to exclaim, "You know what that means? Land Before Time Month!" He has never said it, and I know that he can only review 4 or 5 movies in a month, but and there are 14 of these movies, so but now here is his review on the original Land Before Time, and I find that his content is most enjoyable when he's reviewing something that I'm really well familiar with, like something that I've memorized practically to the least important detail, something I've watched so many times as a kid. And so Land Before Time is the epitome of that. Pretty much all of these movies, 1 through 11, I've memorized practically down to their most minute detail. And so I've really been wanting to hear his full thoughts on actually all of these movies. And so for right now, this is his review of the original. So I'm looking forward to hearing what he has to say about it. I'm pretty sure he likes this movie, but I don't mind hearing some jokes cracked at it either. So pretty much all of his reviews on old kids movies from the 90s or early 2000s, you'll find at least one comment saying that he ruined their childhoods and they don't really mind. Well, this is his chance to lampoon my childhood, and you'll have 13 other chances after this. So, alright, so let's get into it. This is the Nostalgia Critic's review of The Land Before Time.
This episode brought to you by Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kit. Hey folks, we're starting YouTube memberships. If you want access to emojis, polls, behind-the-scenes videos, and other perks,
let's get on with
check
it.
out and see if you want to become a member. And come check us out at C2E2. Hope to see you there.
I don't live anywhere near Chicago, so move on. On with the show.
Hello, I'm the Nostalgia Critic guy, remembered, so you don't have to. And
In this case, I'd like to.
A little different with this intro. I want to be a little real with you. And don't worry, I'm not going to play the sentimental music. I'm not going to talk like this. Don't worry, I'm not going to do any of that. But I want to be a little legit with you. A while ago, I posted this video about how my health was doing. I said how I got shingles and I got past it okay, but it left me with this really bad fatigue and brain fog, and I was told I can't really do anything about it for at least 6 months. Well, 6 months have passed, and it's a lot better, but it hasn't gone away. And it's not something that's really awful or anything like that, because there's no pain involved, none at all, but it does start to mess with you after a while. When you get this thing, suddenly it can last a couple seconds, it can last a couple days, and I just feel lost in my own head. I can't focus, yet my mind is going to like a million things at once. I'm pretty sure I have ADHD and OCD, and they kind of complement each other because I like moving on to the next thing, but I also really love deadlines, so I think that really helps a lot for my work, and I have the greatest job in the world, and this is keeping me from my job. It's keeping me from making videos, and it drives me insane, and sometimes I can't even form words when it happens. Like I was at a convention earlier this week, and sometimes I had to have someone interpret what I was saying because my brain would just not be able to form words. And it's, like I said, not the worst thing, but you can really, really just get lost in it. There are times where I just truly feel lost. Now, why am I telling you all this? Why am I bringing this all up again instead? Well, first of all, I am going to see, an expert on it. Actually, by the time this comes out, I will have seen somebody already, so I mean that's already happening. But I swear, I'm not doing this to try and get pity from you by any means at all, because, again, so many people are going through so much worse. But I'm bringing this up because while I go through this, for some reason, this movie keeps popping in my head.
Oh, yeah? I can kind of understand why.
Now, I don't need you to play therapist. It's very clear why this movie keeps popping up in my head. It's about lost characters trying to find their way back, and I'm clearly going through something similar. Yeah, in a different way. I haven't been chased by a T-Rex yet. But my mother's dead. I can't say that. But what's been standing out to me recently...
You had to go there, doggy. Oh, man. Yeah, you had to go there. Oh, my goodness. We remember Mama Walker. Remember her for the Christmas special. Yeah.
About this film is how they portray the journey of being lost. Released in 1988 and produced by Steven Spielberg and George Lucas, there have been dozens of films about abandoned children who have to survive on their own. But Land Before Time, in typical Don Bluth fashion, really made you feel the misery and danger of that journey. But again, so you can appreciate the camaraderie, hope, and eventual triumph of such an important journey. If Lord of the Flies is a pessimistic tale about a young hopeful unit becoming predatory animals, Land Before Time is an optimistic tale about predatory animals becoming a young hopeful unit. I've always enjoyed it a great deal, but I don't know if I would call it one of my favorite movies or anything. However, in this strange part of my life, I find it resonating with me a lot more, and I think it'd be interesting to re-examine it while feeling a little lost in my own head, too. I mean, it must have resonated with a lot of other people because, sweet Jesus, they made a lot of sequels. So let's jump right in and figure out why it made such a connection. This is gonna look weird without a Roman numeral next to it. We made 14 of these? How do you sleep at night? This is The Land Before Time.
I think they sleep pretty well.
It's almost like something out of Fantasia.
In a blanket of Benjamin Franklin's.
Mood. It's not even all in focus, but weirdly that gives it a little bit more of a dreamlike quality. As if you're in a distant memory or a past life or something. But spoilers, apparently dinosaurs aren't surviving that great. As food is becoming scarce and many are setting out to find a new home. I blame the bunch beetles.
What's that
babies
from?
hatch, and I think it's impressive how Bluth makes these creatures both a little ugly and a little cute at the same time. They're wrinkly with drab colors, but they also have big, bright eyes with wide-open mouths. They surprisingly complement each other.
One herd had only a single baby.
And again, in typical Don Bluth fashion, even just entering existence can be a scary as hell experience. Yeah, remember when they said this herd only has one baby? Kinda makes you look at these smashed eggs a little different.
Yeah, right?
Wow, that's messed up.
Don't be frightened. Come out.
You know, for kids.
A great name for a baby, but man, gonna get him beat up in dino school. And as he grows,
Yeah.
he too sees how scarce food is and follows his mother to a place called the Great Valley.
That's probably what happened to his dad. Because we find out in Greylonic Migration that his mother called him that because that was the nickname that his dad went by. Sorry to anyone who hasn't seen any of these movies past number 1, probably. Because I basically just spoiled the 10th movie for you. Anyway.
Have you ever seen the Great Valley?
And the most unintentionally slow head turn in all prehistory goes to...
Sorry, I had to take the roundabout to answer that, but it was more of a face-to-face answer. They also discover one leaf left.
I always did find that part a little funny.
They decide not to eat it because it's very special.
A tree star.
It is very special.
Granted, they never say why it's special, but I kind of dig that. It has a meaning to them, and that's all that really matters. That's also something you can read different takes on, like it feeds you and gives you energy, but you don't eat it because it's a reminder of what you're looking for.
Yeah,
Like
it's
silver
an emblem
or
of
It
hope.
kind of makes sense. With that, say if I was in a food famine and someone had a special Snickers bar, I'm not even taking the wrapper off before I eat it. I don't care what it meant to you.
Yeah.
Some things you see with your eyes, others you see with your heart.
While they've never seen the Great Valley, the family goes strictly on faith and believe it not only exists, but there's more of their own kind there, as different types of dinosaurs don't always get along.
Three horns never play with long necks.
Dude, he said the LN word! He stumbles across the same three.
Correction. The slur in that world is the FH word. Flathead. My father told me that flatheads have very small brains. You have a nice flathead, flathead. So yeah, the LN word, that's just what they are. They all call themselves long necks, but oh well, back to the point.
Horn again named Sarah, which I'm ashamed to point out over 25 years later, I never knew was spelled like this.
Oh, yeah?
Get it? It's like the arrow in FedEx. I hate how mind-blowing that is. But I like the mentality.
Okay. Funny he should mention that. I work for FedEx now. I've been working for FedEx for a few years now. I never put that together. Okay, like, it was sometime last year that some customer that I was delivering to, he mentioned something about the arrow in our logo, and I was like, what arrow? And he points out to me, the arrow is formed by the E and the X being exactly adjacent to each other. Like, I was just mind blown. Like, how did I never see that? I guess because it was just the same plain white background as the rest of the logo. The same plain white background as Nostalgia Critic's old videos, I guess. But yeah, I always knew the spelling of Sarah. That is, I figured it out. Well, I didn't figure it out on my own, but I knew it because of the sing-along video, actually. And between all of the songs, there were like these kids narrating, like talking about what kind of dinosaur Littlefoot and his friends are, and talking about those dinosaurs, and that was when I figured it out. And they're like, Sarah was a Triceratops. It starts with her name, and then the rest of the word Triceratops rolls out from the center, and that's when I got it. I was like, I see what you did there. And I gotta say too, the sing-along video was such a ripoff. Like, they all of these songs are like turned up one octave, and barely any of the songs even have all the lyrics on screen. For the Eggs song from the second movie, eggs is the only word that appears for the kids to sing along to. So what, we're just supposed to, through the whole thing, we're just supposed to be like, eggs, eggs, eggs. Yeah. Well, let's move on.
Of even though she acts like she hates Littlefoot, she'll forget about it quickly because, fun is fun. They're approached by a T-Rex named Sharptooth, and I love her as menacing as they make the king of the dinosaurs. He's still not as scary as Don Bluth just drawing a cat. I'm artistically offended.
Yeah.
Littlefoot's mother comes to save him, though, in the most epic battle of keep your kids off my lawn ever. An earthquake hits.
Get off my lawn!
Pretty intense animation.
Oh,
separating
yeah.
birds and sadly doing in Littlefoot's mom.
Bambi clip.
Oh, better get that spring song from Bambi.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not
we ain't
here.
pulling
That
shit
ain't happening
When
here.
the character
We
dies,
aren't messing
they
around
let
here.
You sit with it for a while. And it is appropriately brutal.
Do you remember the way to the Great Valley?
I guess so. But why do I have to know? You're gonna be with me.
Now just put your kidneys
Don't play
back
too
in your
much.
body and we can get going.
I really wasn't kidding when I said it lets you sit with the sadness. As Littlefoot tries to carry on with the journey, but breaks down in front of another dinosaur named Rooter, voiced by Pat Hingle.
Hey, what's going on here? What's your problem? You're not hurt.
So this is going to sound really weird, but this is my favorite performance from this actor. I don't know, maybe I haven't seen him in enough roles, but whenever I see him, he always plays the bumbling, goofy guy. Even when he plays a part with
that's
dignity, they end up
Maximum
turning him
Overdrive,
into a
isn't it?
doofus later. Here, though, his voice carries a lot of toughness, but also a lot of heart.
It is nobody's fault. The great circle of life has begun. Not all of us arrive together at the end.
At first, he's like, what's your problem, you Gen Alpha safe space? But then he puts together what's going on and convincingly, as well as warmly, changes.
I see. I see.
The music, the dialogue, the animation, the acting. Truth be told, this is my favorite part of the movie. It really just works exactly how it's supposed to and creates a genuinely emotional moment.
I miss her so much.
She'll always be with you. As long as you remember the things she taught you.
I love, too, that he just leaves him there.
Yeah.
He's like, well, we're still animals. You're not stealing
Well,
half my
weird,
food.
but-
There's still a harshness to it. Even when it tries to have a cute bit of levity with these pterodactyls fighting over food, the movie's like, oh yeah, don't forget this kid's a mother's oil. He sleeps in his mother's footprint because sweet Jesus, but then he stumbles upon the tree star from before, swearing he's hearing his mother's voice.
Follow the bright circle past the great rock.
Hey, look, it's my profile pic.
But try to get there early. They always dress him up weird for the holidays. I think it's cool we don't know if Littlefoot is actually hearing his mother or if he's just remembering what she told him, like Reuter said.
Mother!
But it's okay. Look, Mama is still alive! Mama is still alive! Mama is dead and this movie is cruel. Come on, baby was onto the Lola prototype by now. Okay, Sarah. Good. Old friends will set aside their differences and team up.
Go away. Greenhorns can be very dangerous.
Even the plot of the story, the only thing giving a glimmer of hope is like, yeah, not yet. Yeah, this film doesn't hand out its happy ending like it's candy. It makes you work for it.
Oh, yeah.
Double shifts.
Hello.
We do finally get some levity with a character named Ducky. And yeah, admittedly, it is hard not to feel bummed seeing this character when you know the actress's story, but her performance truly is one of genuine joy and charm that I think it makes sense to mainly focus on that.
I have a long neck too, see? And I have a long tail like you.
Though he says they should stay apart because they're different, she doesn't take no for an answer, and Littlefoot, almost halfway through the movie, finally has a friend.
She might take nope, nope, nope for an answer.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
They discover another friend named Petrie, a pterodactyl who can't fly and who, like the others, was separated from his family. Boy, his path is like the yellow brick road for orphans, huh?
I fly? No.
Kinda looks like it.
You followed.
The rusty brick road.
I'm afraid if I can't fly, the only other thing to survive is a cockroach, and I want to evolve into that. Rain. What do you say we order out tonight? Wrong, you want Factor. Factor's fantastic, amazing, and
I've heard him
fantastic.
talk about Factor before.
Amazingly
Let's
fantastic,
just
amazing.
go to
It's
the-
food, good food. The best I've ever had for a ready-to-eat meal kit. I'm excited to see what they're like. Hope to see you there. Sarah stumbles across the body of Sharptooth, and yeah, let's add playing with corpses to the list of messed upness this movie's creating.
Not a corpse.
Yes, Sharptooth and Sauron have very similar DNA structure. Sharptooth rises, scaring Sarah away while Littlefoot and the gang do their own
I never
corpse
thought of that
desecrating.
before.
Yet what was the story with this guy? And they run into Sarah.
I met the Sharptooth. Sharptooth is dead.
And so are all his grandchildren.
I don't know what
But
that's
she
from.
decides to join the group anyway, as they stumble across another new friend, Spike.
You are all alone. Are you not scared?
Yeah, nice we go from lost children trying to find their parents to, hey, this one's parents aren't even in the picture. Hell, whether they left voluntarily or involuntarily, nothing would make this a happy scenario.
Yeah.
We're going to the Great Valley. You can go with us.
Thankfully, though, Spike is pretty laid back, never talking, and just going with the flow, stuffing his face along the way. If t-shirts existed in this time, this would probably be the one he would wear. I think they found the Great
The dude about the Spike abides. The dude abides. The Spike abides. Now, I don't know about you, but I take comfort in that. It's good knowing he's out there. I've already done a parody of this once before. My Secretosaurus Rock review, and it wasn't even that funny in the first place, so, yeah. Let's just move on. Actually, on the subject of like, the dark vagueness there, like, what became of Spike's parents, I wonder if Doug is going to bring up the fact that Sarah is only greeted by her dad at the end of the movie. I mean, they clearly showed she has a whole family, a mother and a bunch of sisters, and they clearly didn't make it to the Great Valley. I like to think that it had something to do with the backstory they gave to Petrie's uncle in movie number 7, and in fact, I think that's a common fan theory actually that was what happened to them. And you may not know what I'm talking about, because I'm sure, actually, some of you who are here may not be Land Before Time fans. You might just be Nostalgia Critic fans looking for the reaction. So,
Valley, but it's just a small collection of trees that are quickly eaten up. They try to find what they can, with everyone teaming up to get food. Well, almost everyone.
Your floor looks so ridiculous.
So, eat Sarah? We're all agreed to eat Sarah?
Sarah tries to get
friends
home
for dinner.
with Littlefoot helping out without ever letting her know he's helping out.
See? I can take care of myself.
Well, I think you can make the argument this isn't exactly good team building. You can also acknowledge they're kids and admire Littlefoot's attempt to be nice. This is why I like when stories like this are done well. If a main character makes a mistake, they're young, they're still growing and learning. It's not like when an adult makes a stupid decision, you're just like, that dumbass should know better. If anything, with younger characters, they become more endearing through their mistakes, if they're handled correctly. And literally, at the end of the day, it is the rest of the group that eventually goes to rest with him because
this is one of my
they trust
favorite
him,
scenes.
and because he accepts him with open arms, including Sarah. They're sweet, believable moments. Shit gets real, though, when Sharptooth attacks, proving Sarah was right all along. Though they escape, this creates a rift in the group, as Sarah wants to go an easier way despite all the landmarks Littlefoot was told about, leads them in a different direction. Again, when the kids fight, especially when they're exhausted, it feels real. They feel vulnerable like actual kids are, letting their emotions get the best of them and not always knowing if they should reel them back or not. Not only are they lost physically, but they're also lost mentally, not always knowing where to go or who to trust.
Sarah's way is easier.
I think so, too.
This must be the American side of the continent. But it turns out Sarah's way leads to Dragon's Lair, where our heroes are trapped and have to be saved by Littlefoot. They even save Sarah pretending to be a giant tar monster.
Sarah!
I'd like to know how they got out of there.
Yeah, let's be careful how we animate that tar. You're not Disney, and right now that's a good thing.
Oh dear.
Sarah's ashamed she almost got her friends killed, especially
Yeah,
when they
not
were
Disney
gladly
yet.
do so on their own.
It's Sharptooth!
But one of these days, of course, they will be.
Or, maybe we can say we like him to his face and then tweet we hate him online.
They lure him towards a giant lake and try to push a boulder on his head to drown him. The boulder is too heavy, but Sarah returns to give an extra push, and even Dimitri finally learns to fly to fight him off.
Did you just say Dimitri? Wrong Don Bluth movie. That's Anastasia. Okay, was that like an actual Freudian slip, or just a little joke you decided to throw in there? Dimitri. Anyway, well, yeah, I just realized this video is only 20 minutes long. I mean, makes sense. The movie itself is just barely over an hour. Dimitri.
Kind of like the Snyder Cut, I like
Dimitri.
everyone has a role to play in the climax. If one character was gone, they wouldn't survive. Everyone has to pull their weight in order for this to work.
Littlefoot.
Mother!
Just as Littlefoot's ready to give up on the Great Valley, he swears he hears his mother calling to him. And sure enough, the Great Valley was in his heart the whole time. Nah, it's around the corner.
The Great Valley was all they dreamed it would be. Enough tree stars to feast on forever.
And we do mean forever.
This is our new brother's life!
He'll eat about 90% of our rations, but the merchandise will be through the roof.
Okay, question? Why does he keep playing audio clips over visuals that... Okay, I keep noticing this. He plays audio over visuals that aren't... how do I explain this? It's just some of the... He just takes some of the audio, plays it over visuals that come like a few seconds later in the actual movie. Maybe it's a copyright thing, but it's just something I noticed. Okay, was Spike the most merchandisable character? But was he the Grogu of the Land Before Time? I don't know. I feel like the most merchandisable would have been. Honestly, I'm not really sure. I never came across very many Land Before Time toys, to be honest. So I guess maybe I'm just not the right person to ask. I mean, knowing that my channel's content, maybe I should be. But actually, I think the most merchandisable character must have been Chomper, because I could swear we see a Chomper plushie in Scream 3 of all places, if that's actually him. Well, anyway.
The ending's just as warm and earned as it should be, as the misery they all went through finally pays off and the lost are finally found. And yeah, I think that's why the film's been resonating with me so much. It knows how to make the characters truly lost, but never hopeless.
Yeah.
Like I said, I swear I wasn't saying what I said before to get pity, but rather to show there really is something to stories and media reflecting back our own journeys. Okay, many of us aren't separated from our families and have to go on these grand adventures, but they help us out by sympathizing with us in different ways. You truly feel how lost these characters are, both physically and emotionally. And that can be very relatable. Everybody understands that feeling. And well, sure, it's not doing anything really new, it's just doing it really well. The characters are likable, the animation's spectacular, and the emotion appropriately varies from intense and depressing to uplifting and heartfelt. It's also gonna sound weird too, but it's impressively short. The film is just a little over an hour, and it feels like so much was accomplished in that amount of time that you'd swear it was longer.
Yeah.
It was made at a time when Disney was leaving a void that needed to be filled. In fact, a lot of people argue this film was much more like classic Disney than the actual Disney film that came out that same year. A big part of that comes
same
from the
day,
film
in
knows
fact.
not to lie about how overbearing the challenges of life can be, but still remind you they can be overcome. I find myself sympathizing with more and more stories like these, particularly with characters who are still trying to figure out the world because they don't always have the proper guidance they need. They stumble and don't always make the right choices, but you see them learn and grow as a result of it. Land Before Time takes that back to the basics, as basic as it can get at the beginning of all things. So you can connect with a timeless journey that always has been and always will be continuing in one way or another. It's a solid adventure with solid leads and a solid message about finding what you thought may never be found. I'm a Nostalgia Critic guy, remember? So you don't have to.
I'd fly?
That's a clip you're going to play during the logo? I mean, actually, I guess that just kind of speaks to just how great the movie is. That there was, like, no kind of dumb or awkward line or piece of audio to, that's the best he could come up with. Just, I fly? Well, gotta say, I enjoyed that. I really liked hearing Doug's take on the movie, and I really enjoyed, too, hearing him talk about why the viewing of the movie has been personal to him lately. And I actually appreciate that. I don't think he should have to clarify that he's not doing it just for pity. Sometimes I like it when YouTubers that I'm well familiar with get a little more personal. And yeah, I think that's I think the movie really is just it's really heavy on emotion, but it's like just simple enough that everyone can link some kind of experience they've had with the characters and events of the movie, and that's really that's ultimately one of the reasons why The Land Before Time is my favorite animated movie of all time, and even all of before time, anyway. And I hope this isn't a one and done for him. I'd really like to hear his thoughts on the sequels. I mean, if he manages to find the time to do the other 13 of these movies. But I'd really like to hear his thoughts on them. I know that the cliche that Doug hates the most in movies is the bully stereotype, like the bullies that are like completely one-dimensional, have like no backstory, and are no fun. And so that does make me wonder what he would think of the third movie, considering what's done with the bully characters in that movie. And I even wonder what he would think of Stone of Cold Fire, given the kind of challenging twist that movie had regarding the rainbow faces. I'd like to hear his take on that for sure. And I like to see him review Journey Through the Mist, because that's my favorite of all the sequels, and that is the one that I watched the most when I was a kid, because it probably was my favorite back then. Now it's second best. I really can't put it above the original, but and actually, I'd like to get his take on Great Longneck Migration, particularly because of the climax of that movie, or lack thereof. I mean, the whole movie is building up this supposed event where the sun falls out of the sky, the Longnecks catch it and then push it back up, and all these Longnecks are having the same dream to prepare them for this moment and to lead them to this location where it's supposed to happen. And it turns out to be a solar eclipse. And the Longnecks are just standing there doing nothing. And then when it's over, they're all congratulating each other. They're all just high-fiving each other. Well, obviously not high-fiving each other, because, they'll walk on all fours. But what the heck was that? I mean, the movie's good overall. It's got good content for sure. But what the heck was that? So, I'd like to hear his take on those movies, and if he's just out to lampoon all of them, I'd be here for it. I can take a joke. I mean, as near and dear to me as most of these movies are, I'll be there for it. So I mean, if Doug happens to come across this reaction, consider that a request. In fact, I think I did actually request all of the Land Before Time movies a while back, and so yeah, I'd certainly I will be here again if he does get around to it. So that's a wrap. This is just something I wanted to do because this was something I'd been looking forward to seeing for a while. So I hope you all enjoyed this reaction video, and I should get around to reviewing Journey to Big Water sometime in the next 5 years or so, just somewhere in that time frame. So like and share, subscribe for more. This is Popp Culture, and this is the LBT Squad. I'm so used to saying this is Popp Culture now, but so long.